Well, hello, it's nice to see you and a very warm welcome on this chilly morning. It is the morning at the moment, but depending on when you're watching this, it might not be. So hello, nice to have you with us and welcome to another edition of the Coaching Hour. We're into season 2, and what does that make different from season 1? Well, the fact that we are bringing guests to you in the form of coaches who are going to be sharing their modalities with you. For the last couple of weeks, we've been featuring Shaun from Thriver Mind, and we'll be hearing more from Shaun very shortly. I'm Paul Rotherham. It's lovely to have you with us as we bring this to you in partnership with Coaches Network South Africa. And I'm joined by our two lovely ladies who are also part of Coaches Network South Africa and, well, indirectly Coaches Network South Africa, and of course the Coaching Hour podcast, and that is Marika and Mary. So hello, Marika and Mary. Nice to have you here.
Greetings.
Everyone well?
Yes, we're good and excited for today.
Fantastic. Lovely. Well, I have the kettle on in the background for a cup of tea, which I'm going to look forward to enjoying while we listen to Shaun. What are we getting into today, Marika? You're going to do the introductions.
Good. Thank you so much, Paul. Today we are going to talk about creating a better quality of life, which is a part of Shaun's self-mastery online course. And he's sharing some snippets and topics with us. And I'm excited for today, what we're going to learn from you, Shaun. So thank you, Shaun, for being here once again. You can take it from here.
Thanks, Marika. A pleasure to be here. And it's really hard to share snippets only out of a course, something that excites me very, very much. And it's just really hard to share a small bit and not do the whole course. And I think constantly I just need to remind myself that we are not busy with the whole course. We're busy with aspects of the course, but that happens when something really excites you. And as a coach, it excites me to help people discover themselves, discover what they already have inside of them, what they were born with, and just how to stir that up. I like that saying, to stir up the gifts that is within you, to stir up your gifts, your talents, your personality, your communication style, your emotions. And this journey was such an amazing journey for me, and I just love sharing it. And if it was up to me, everyone would do it. Everyone would go through some or other self-discovery, self-mastery course for us to use what we have already. We often want to find something outside of ourselves, something different, something better, without realizing we have all those resources. And when we use what we have, in other words, what you were born with, which is your personality. Everyone's got a personality, even though we might not think that always. Everyone's got a communication style. Everyone's got gifts and talents. Everyone has got thoughts. Everyone's got emotions. And if you're going to use that is your biggest resource that you can use, and it comes natural. Right? You already have it. You must just learn how to use it. Okay, it's not something that you need to require, you need to get. You have it already. And when a person gets into that mindset of using what you have, all of a sudden life changes, because you already think and you already know, I have it. Like patience. It's not something that you have to acquire. It's not, you can't go buy it in a lucky packet. You know, oh, I'm lucky. I've got patience. You already have it. And if you realize that in any given situation, you can just apply it, like pouring sugar in coffee. You can drink coffee without sugar. Or if you have sugar and you want sugar, you can just take a spoon, get some sugar, pour it in and stir it. It's applying, just applying sugar to the coffee to make it sweeter. And you can apply what you have in different situations. So in self-mastery, the aim is, like I said, to use what you already have. In order to use what you already have, you need to discover what you already have. Okay? And in order to discover what you already have, you need to realize or believe that there is something to discover. right? If you don't believe there's something to discover, you're never going to go on this journey. You're never going to look for anything. Okay, so taking a journey to have a better quality of life, first you need to realize, okay, there might be something that I have that I can use. And that is, like I said, your personality type, your communication style, your emotions, your filters. In other words, what makes you unique? Because even though we can categorize certain personalities, every person is still extremely unique, even your emotion. No two people on earth in the history of humankind can experience the same emotion the same way. So no two people can get angry and it's the same thing. No two people can experience the same loss, be in the same car accident and experience an emotion the same way. It's like very unique, as the same as your fingerprint. And that is what makes you unique, something that only you can do. Even though someone else can do the same thing, it won't have the same effect. Like two motivational speakers. Let's take Les Brown, Tony Robbins. They're not the same. They're both motivational speakers. They're both great speakers, but they do not have the same impact. They do not have the same crowd. So there's something about each one of those people's personality, something maybe in their upbringing, in their way, whatever it might be, that makes them unique. And another motivational speaker can take Tony Robbins or Les Brown or whoever's speech and do exactly the same thing. It will not have the same impact because there's something about them that makes them extremely unique. And we have to find that what makes you unique. And what can I do to have an impact in my life, in my environment, in what I do, and forget, okay, I'm not that person. I can't do it as good as that person. I'm not supposed to. I need to use what I have. I need to use my gifts, my talents, my thoughts, my emotions, my body language, which we're going to talk a little bit about, and use that to my advantage. What advantage? The type of person I want to be. So hopefully, I think especially when we're younger, we think, okay, what do I want to become? What job would I like to do? But a part of that for many people is, what type of person do I want to be? What type of impact do I want to have? What do I want people to feel from me? For me, I made a decision a long time ago that I want people to either feel very relaxed in my presence or motivated. My friends know, if you want to sulk for a while, don't phone me. Don't tell me you're going through a bad spot. If you don't want to get out of it now, don't talk to me now. Talk to me when you want to get out of it. So if you, in 2 days' time, if you want to throw a pity party for 3 weeks, put on some sad music, have some ice cream, do it. And then after that, then you phone me and tell me, listen, we need to have a beer or a coffee or whatever. Because I decided that's who I want to be. I want to motivate, I want to uplift people, I want to give people hope. So in accordance with who I want to be, now I'm using my tools, I'm using my personality, I'm using my tone of voice, I'm using my body language, my thoughts, everything towards that person or towards that goal. And we can, I can change my mind anytime or add things as I want to go, anytime. Okay, I want to be more this way or that way. But whatever it might be in this line where I'm at now and the person I want to be in 10 years, I'm using to my advantage what I have to achieve that, to move towards that goal or that person or that outcome. If it is to achieve a certain level of success, if it is to have a certain impact with people, if it is in sales, in relationships, in whatever, in my hobby, whatever it might be. Now, I used my personality when I was still running, before a truck ran me over. Okay, when I could still run. Okay, way back when. I used what I had to my advantage to achieve something specific. Paul, you want to say something?
I was just going to comment, gosh, I had no idea that you were hit by a truck. That's terrible. How old were you, or how long ago was that, Shaun?
That was in 2008. I was 20 years old. I was working in the bank, Standard Bank, and on my way home, I was on a motorcycle, and a truck swerved out, and I was next to the truck and underneath it. I was, yeah, 6 months recovery. Well, it took longer, but before I could start walking again. And actually, after that, that's where my coaching journey and my self-discovery journey started. Because I had one talent, and I thought I was only good for one thing, and that was for running. And now I can't walk. Everything is broken, and everything is, nothing is working anymore. And then I had to find something inside, skills-wise, that I was good at. And I discovered I was good at talking and explaining things, running my mouth all the time.
Yeah, you're definitely good at that, and you are good at showing empathy, and you're good at motivating. So you did choose the right career. But I'd like to take a step back, because obviously this conversation now, if someone who is listening or watching is more mature, like we are, mature as in age and experience of life, then you've more or less figured out where you're going, what you need to do, and to some extent who you are. But if you're still starting out in this world, I think of my son, Matthew, who's 19, and I think, good grief, he doesn't really have any idea who he is. He's got no idea what he wants to do, no idea where he would like to be, no idea of possible career choices, what he's good at. I think he's still got to discover that. How do you begin this process of finding yourself for someone who, there might be someone now who is our age and still doesn't know who they are? Where do they start?
And also on that, Paul, with coaching, there's a lot of people, especially after divorce, especially women, who do not know who they are, because they give so much of themselves to their kids, to their husband, to their job, that they lose who they are. What they like doesn't matter anymore. What they would want to do doesn't matter anymore. And it hasn't mattered for many years. And people get to an age in their 40s, and they sit in front of us and listen, I don't know who I am. So I think, saying people like us who has matured and older, that's not a lot of people. Even though you've matured in certain areas of your life and with knowledge in certain areas, depending on, what you do for a living or who you are, if you haven't gone through many personal or a lot of personal growth, a lot of people do not know who they are. So the beginning of this course takes you through a process to discover that, to write down what you are passionate about, to sort of discover where's my limits, what do I like, what do I don't like, what do I like to wear, to eat. Because a lot of, especially for your, even your S and your C personalities, it doesn't matter, as long as they have food. As long as certain things are in place, it really doesn't matter. But it does. It does matter. It does matter what you like, what you don't like, what is acceptable, what is not. What are your values? And especially for younger people, that whole questionnaire, or that whole process of discovering, if you don't know, find out. Make a decision. And this course, that's what self-mastery is about. First discovering, and then using to your advantage. Okay, so in the beginning of the course, I will take you through a process to find those things. If you don't know, irrespective of what age you are, and that's often a part of this course we do for high school kids. It's in certain private schools, we have this as a subject for 17, 18-year-olds. It's a part of the course as a subject so that they can discover these things and gain some emotional intelligence. Okay, so that really helps. Answer your question.
Yes, it does. And I think that's great that there is someone who's doing something at the schools, because in my limited experience of having two teenagers, there really isn't much now at school, certainly not the school that they're at, without knocking anybody. There isn't really much that guides and shapes our young learners anymore. There's so much that I think could be offered at schools that isn't. Yes, so well done to you for offering that.
And the truth is, if someone doesn't tell you, you don't know. If someone doesn't guide you through this, I was living basically on my own since I went to high school, without going in too much of that detail. But I had no one to guide me or to teach me or to tell me anything. And I often, when we talk to parents about their kids, how does a young man know he's a man, or a young lady know that she's a woman? Let's take men. How does a young man or a boy know that he's a man? And that's, for many people, a hard question. They don't know. And the answer is when your father tells you that you're a man. And a father doesn't just say that. He knows, okay, what I've built in and what I've taught, and I can see that this boy has applied and has listened, and he's ready to be called a man. And you're a man when your dad tells you you're a man. And a lot of fathers do not tell their sons, listen, my boy, of what I've seen and what I've experienced from you, you are a man. Or women telling their daughters that on what I've seen and what I'm experiencing from you, you are a woman. And that is very important. And if you don't know, you don't know. And this will really help you, especially for those who haven't had guidance and it's never been told. It's time that someone tell you. And I think it's a big task, or something that coaches are or should be passionate about. If you're not passionate about something like this, you can't be a coach. You need to go and make hamburgers or do something else. But you can't be a coach if you are not passionate about helping people find this.
So, Shaun, if I can just quickly go back to what you've mentioned, you said it should start with your goal, but you ask yourself, what impact do I want to make? So it's a choice, firstly, of who do I want to be or who do I want to become? And
Yes.
then finding out what are those ingredients that you need to apply to get there.
Yes, absolutely. A part of the course is how to make smart decisions in 60 seconds. Okay? And we can test this. Take you guys that know yourself and is in a certain place in your life. When last have you guys bought anything? Clothes, a table, something personal for yourself in the last 2 or 3 months, if you guys can think of something.
Yes.
Okay. Marika, what did you buy?
Does a car count?
A car, yes.
Yes.
What car did you buy? It can be difficult, but let's test it. Let's test the car.
Okay.
What car did you buy?
Nissan.
Nissan what?
Magnite.
Okay, describe the car. What did you like about the car?
It's the look, the fact that it's high up from the ground, it's sporty, it's small, it's good on fuel.
Okay. Does that describe certain parts of you? Does the car, that you buy a car, if you're in a position, often we are not in a position to buy a car that really describes us. So we go for what we can afford. But if you can afford something, does that car say Marika?
I think so.
Yeah, it does. Okay.
Yes.
And if you guys think of things that you buy, a big secret of, especially for people that are indecisive, like me, or I was indecisive. Now, when I want to buy something, a piece of clothing, I'm not anymore.
Sorry, that's quite ironic. I was indecisive, but actually now I'm not sure.
I'm not anymore. I can make a decision. Okay, and the reason why, what I used to make decisions is this me? So that section of the course, that how to make smart decisions fast, is if I can't decide, if I want to buy shirts, now there's 5 shirts I want to buy. How do I make a decision on one, or which one I want the most? Well, I describe the shirt, the color, the texture, and the shirt that describes me best, that's the one I buy. The table, my desk when I made this this bookshelf. So I decided this is what I want, and I'm going to design and draw a bookshelf that describes me. I'm going to choose the color of the paint, how it's going to look. The whole look and feel needs to say Shaun, and it does. So I can't make that decision. I can't build something. I can't buy something based on, is this me, if I don't know who I am? If I do not understand myself. Because I want to make a statement and say, this is me. The color of the shirt, the specific blue, says something about me. It says, it talks. But I can't make that decision if I don't know who I am.
Wouldn't it be truthful, though, Shaun, to say that we're living in a world now? I mean, you've used a car, which I think is a good analogy. I think we're living in a world where many people are portraying what they would like other people to see them as, and not necessarily who they know themselves to be. And I won't go down the road, excuse the pun, of describing the stereotypical German vehicles that some people buy. But very often you can't help but think people have bought these cars simply because it makes a statement. So, yes, I understand to some extent objects relating to who we are, but I think, and even in my own personal experience, to be honest, I've had probably, I don't know, 16, 17 cars over the years. And if I look back, sometimes I think, particularly in my young years, I wasn't buying those cars. Yes, I liked it, of course. I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't like it. But there were times where I bought cars that I thought would probably represent me better than I knew myself to be, if that's making sense.
It does, yes. So that's also where you said when we're younger, we don't know who we really are. We don't know what we stand for. We don't know where we're going. So we listen to other people. We listen to the media. We are moved by that ad. We are moved by another person maybe that we look up to and see, listen, this person's got his stuff together. Look at his life. I also want that. And what we want is the effect of what another person has. We want the effect of that car, which means this person has made it, or they are successful, or they have money, or whatever. So we're going for what it stands for. And that is why it is so important to find who you are, what you want, what you stand for. Because if you don't know, you have to make some decision. You have to make, go in some direction, and then you are going to go with the masses or someone else. And when a person doesn't like themselves, they want something else. If they are not, either they don't know who they are, they're still in the process of discovering, or they don't like who they are at all, and then they will even fill in the test based on on that personality type. And it's often an outgoing, stronger personality. It's surprising, maybe you won't understand it, but a lot of people that we've done this test with fill it in and say they would like to be a D personality. Because they come across very strong, very confident. I know what I want. Even if they walk into the bathroom, they're on a mission. They're certain, they're assertive. They've got confidence. They've got just something about them. No one is looking for trouble. No one is messing with these people. These people just always get what they want, and they always just get stuff done. I also want to be this way. So that uncertainty, they don't know how to use what they have to get the same results. So now they want something else that someone else has. They want the effect of it. They don't really want to be a D personality. They just want the effect and the lifestyle or whatever it might be.
Shaun, so your course, does it help people to find out who they are? Or
Yes.
is it for people that already know who they are and they just want to continue evolving?
So the first part is to really discover. So you discover your personality type, how resilient you are, your passion, your values, all of those things. It's a discovery part. And then we take it to how to use all of this to your advantage, understanding your emotions, understanding your thoughts, your inside world as well. So it's for both. If you know it, you can use it to find out and then to use. And if you are somewhere already, just to take it further. Because a lot of, like I said, a lot of the personal growth just gives you information. Okay, this is who you are. This is your personality style. Great. This is your this. This is your that. Okay, what must I do with this? It's good to know. I can understand myself better. But no, you need to take it further. That's always only the first step, to know. But now, okay, if I can't use it for something, for success, for career, for relationships, to explain something to whatever, why do I know it? So it's for both, Mary.
Thank you. That's very encouraging because, as Paul said, there's a lot of young people, they leave school and then they just don't know what they want. They don't know who they are. They don't know where they're going.
Yeah.
So what would you say is the very first step? Because these people don't even know that they don't know.
Yeah. Well, the first step is, okay, I want to find out. So like I said in the beginning, to master yourself, you have to discover. To discover, you must know that there is something to discover. Okay. It's fine that you don't know what it is. Just know that there is something. I think the very first step is to encourage young people to say, listen, there is something. You have gifts, you have talents. There is something that you are good at. You can use it. There is something inside of you, your mind, your thoughts, your emotions, all of this. There is something. Okay, let's start there. Okay, secondly, okay, find out. I promise you there is something. Even though you don't feel that way, or you are this way or that way, or whatever, I promise you there is something to find. Okay, now let's find. And that's the very first start, or a step in the course, is a discovery section. And after the discovery section comes the teaching section of all the different aspects. So there's a whole section on, after you've done the personality test, now I'm going to teach everything I can, or I think you need to know about using that personality. So knowledge and then teaching, knowledge and then teaching.
I think it's critical, Shaun, because not most, but I would say a lot of people don't know who they are. And that's just because there's so many distractions. I mean, we grew up, in a time where we didn't have social media growing up. But when you have that growing up, there's so much confusion in terms of, who I am, who I fit in, what is cool, what is wanted. It makes it difficult, a lot of people, whether you are young, older, successful, it's difficult.
Yes, it is absolutely, Marika. And if we think of our own upbringing, if I think of mine, I think the main focus of my upbringing was manners. If you talk to a grown-up in a certain way, sometimes there was no time for taking you to the room with a hiding. You were somewhere hit with a fist. You were hit right there. If you talk back to your mom, right there, okay, can't speak for a week. No more, there's no argument, no nothing. Manners. You must have manners. No teaching me skills or developing or, okay, you must have manners. You better have good manners. People, if you go and visit people, they must come back with good feedback that you were a good host or whatever. So that was the main thing. So it was a fear-based upbringing. Don't be disrespectful. Don't treat other people bad. You will get punished for it. So, well, in one way, and I think a lot of people, their upbringing method or style is to, just sort of create a good human being. Good manners, do this, learn hard, certain things, but we don't really go into developing that person and telling him and teaching him who you are and what you have, how to use it in school, how to use it in sport, how to use it in culture, how to talk to, for me, I was so shy, that's why, well, it doesn't matter, I'm not going to say that, but I couldn't talk to people. No one taught me how to talk to people. No one taught me how to talk to a woman. So I was just shy. I didn't know how to, so I didn't do it. Because I didn't date till late 20s, 28, 29. Because I just didn't know. Okay, what do I say? So part of, or most of my personal growth journey was just to get along, just to have basic things, how to dress, how to talk, how to do this, how to do that, because no one taught me. And this, why? Because they also didn't know. What did they know? How to teach me manners. Okay, my parents, they knew. So whatever, you can't give what you don't know. You can only give. This is what I know. This is what I'm going to give. This is what I have. I have 5 rand. I can give you 5 rand. If I only have 5 rand, I can't give you 10 rand. I don't have it. And that's why it's important also for adults and for parents to go through a course like this, go through some kind of skills development so that they can give it to kids. That's why I don't really work with kids, because I would like to work with parents so I can help them and give them a skill to work with their own kids, and so that they can build that bond, so that they can carry over, and they are the ones who teaches all of these things and tell their kids, this is who you are. This is what you can do. But if you don't know, you can't tell them. You can't develop, you can't stir up that gift that is within them if you are yourself knowing you don't know how to do it. So that's also part of the self-mastery course, is to master your own, recognize it in others, and to teach others, help others how to do it.
So, Shaun, now that, myself, Mary and Paul have done that assessment, now that we know that, so it's first like, to find out more about yourself. Now, to get back to our topic for today, how can we now start creating a better quality of life, knowing what personality type we are?
Yes. So part of discovering or having a better quality of life is obviously to use what you have to your advantage. So something small, and I want you to test this in a week. If you can notice personality types. Okay. So if you can notice, if I can recognize a person is a certain personality type, I can adjust and do certain things to connect with them better. And if I connect with people better, I have a better quality of life. If I know how to connect with a D personality, a C, an S, or an I automatically have a better quality of life. If you can connect with your partner better, if you can connect with your kids better, and all of a sudden know they're not doing something on purpose, they really do not care about detail. They don't care. It's just going to take some harder work. But if I know this, or I know one of my children or someone close to me, they need attention to detail, or they have this or whatever, it will improve my quality of life. So firstly, let's see if you can recognize certain personality styles. Okay. So when I did this personality test with you guys, there were 4 quadrants. So on the right-hand side, well, it depends on how you look at the screen, but if on the right-hand side you had your D and your I personality. So those are extroverts. So firstly, see if a person is introvert or extrovert. So if you think about people, you will hear that in their tone of voice. So extroverts are whatever they're thinking comes out of their mouth. They say it. Okay, you'll hear them before you see them most of the time. So those are extroverts. They live out. So that's your D. Then you know a person, when you can recognize them as an extrovert, you know they're either a D personality or an I personality. Your introverts, so they talk softer, talk a bit slower. They're not out there. They're more inwards. So then you know more likely they are a C or a S personality. Okay. So then the first step is extrovert, introvert. Second step, are they task-oriented, above the line, or people-oriented, below the line? So if they are task-oriented, their conversations are shorter. They get to the point. And you often get the feeling that they are conversation enders. They do not keep a conversation going. They answer you. How are you? Good, thank you. You're cold? Yes, it is cold. So they don't, they sort of conversation stoppers. And when they talk, it's task-oriented. Yes, I did buy what you asked me. I completed the list, yes. Okay, well, that's what you asked me, I answered you. Or they'll just give a thumbs up. Did you do it? Or they won't even answer often. Okay, so, and they will talk about task, get straight to the point. Then you know they are task-oriented So in other words, either a D or a C. If they are people-oriented, they will keep the conversation going. They talk more because they are focused on people, on how things are. They do not talk about what needs to be done first. They'll talk about you first. Okay, about people. How are you? How's things? They all, okay, wait, let's make coffee or let's pour something to drink first. Okay, they will sort of give a good atmosphere. They are not conversation enders. They can keep a conversation going for long periods of time. Okay, so now, if a person is extrovert and they talk about people, they keep a conversation going, what are they most likely to be? So extrovert, people.
Extrovert and people.
Yeah.
Coaches or
What personality type? Yes. Yes. I. Okay, so extrovert, your D and your I. So your extrovert D is task-oriented. Extrovert, people-oriented is an I personality. Okay, so now we've got introvert, task-oriented.
The S. No, C, sorry.
C. Okay. So if we can, yeah, so that's the extrovert or introvert, task-oriented or people-oriented. Then we have a good idea of what a person's personality type is most likely, and we can adjust according to it. Now, we need to notice if a person is just having a bad day or if they're really introverted. But you'll see that as you go along and as you sort of develop yourself. But that's sort of the first step, just introvert or extrovert, people-oriented or task-oriented. And noticing that will automatically in your mind let certain lights go off of what we've spoken about to know this person, I can treat him more or less this way. This is how he thinks. This is how he will act. This is how he will respond. Right. And if it is the type of person you are going back to making good decisions fast, is this me? Is it me to adjust to make a connection with people? Is it who I am? I'm doing this very deliberate. Am I strong enough? Am I good enough? Do I see myself as worthy to adjust, to make a connection? And a lot of people ask, okay, why do you do it? And the answer is simply because I can. It's just, I can. I have the ability. Why wouldn't I do it? If I have the ability, why wouldn't I? If I can do something, it's who I am. I'm going to do it. And that is a mentality and a way of thinking of mentally strong people. I do things just because I can. I'm patient. Why? Because I can be. Why do I treat people, or why can I, shift? And with some people, I can be straight up with a D in your I, go straight up, or your D in your C, straight up. And with other people, be more relaxed, have longer conversations, and adjust. Why? Because I can.
And also, I would say relationships is fundamental to, us as human beings. So why wouldn't you use tools that you have to create better connections, better relationships? At the end of the day, it's who we know, it's the support that we have in our life. And I think this is a great tool to start building better relationships and better connections.
Because that is going to lead to a better quality of life. If you have, because some people, yes, they walk around with a lot of hurt, a lot of negativity, and their relationships are bad, and they do not have a good quality of life. They do not have that support. They do not have that love. They do not have that friendship that, night or day, I will do anything for this person. They do not have it. And the truth is, all of us go through rough times. All of us gets to certain times in our life that we need help, that we need that support system, that we need that backup. Now, I like that Avengers movie, it really explains it good, where it seems like it's the end of the battle and all of a sudden everyone comes back from the past. that whole backup, and you see those one or two that's been fighting, some are getting new strength. They're getting new energy because all of a sudden we have backup. And that is a better quality of life. To live a way, to treat people, to use what you have, to build that. Because you have to create it. A better quality of life does not just appear. You can't snap your fingers. Okay, you do not have infinity stones to just snap your fingers and everything appear in your life. You have to create it. And
So
you
it's
create
all
it.
about taking responsibility for yourself, taking
Absolutely.
responsibility for your life, and get
Absolutely.
out of that need to ask other people to fix you.
Yeah.
To stand
And
in
you-
your own. Yeah.
And by doing a course like this, you become that person. You become that person that can support, that can uplift, that can motivate. So one of my, that's everywhere on the website and everywhere is just the word menu. So what's on the menu? The menu is for motivation, upliftment, navigating, and equipping people. MENU. Motivation, equipment, navigating, and uplifting. And we become those people. And because I become that person, I automatically create a better quality of life. How do I create it? I use what I have. I found out what I already have, my personality, all these things that I've mentioned. I found out what it is, how to use it to my advantage, and now I am that person.
So, Shaun, our challenge for this week is to notice two things, whether someone is extrovert or introvert.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then secondly, distinguishing between whether they are task-orientated or people-orientated.
Yes.
Now, what can we look forward to for next week?
Okay, so I want to end with Paul's question of last week. Where do we draw the line of being myself and, completely not being myself anymore? Just allowing people to either manipulate me or walk all over me, or, how far does flexibility go? How far can I push myself where I'm not myself anymore? Okay, so that has to be in line with who I am. Right, so is this whole situation still in line with who I am, or is it taking me somewhere else? Is it out of line? Because there is a point where people are getting out of line, and we cannot be flexible in being out of line. It doesn't serve anyone. It doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help them or me. So firstly, my flexibility and my actions always needs to be in line with the type of person I am. And if it is out of line, then something else kicks in, and that is to influence others. Influence others in a specific direction that is better for them. So we do not pass our lines. We make a decision, this is my lines. This is how far I go. And that's also part of the first part of the questions. What are my limits? What are my values? How far is too far? Okay, and then when it gets too far, I need to influence. So next week, we're going to talk, and I'm going to give specific tips and specific pointers out of the course on how to influence people, especially when things are getting out of line and I start feeling, listen, this is not who I am anymore. Because there is a point like that. This is not me. This is not the decision I make, so this is going too far. You need to get back in your lane. You're going to get disqualified here. You're running 400 meters. You need to stay in your lane. Okay. So that is next week when we're going to go into specifically on the section of influencing other people.
Thank you, Shaun. I look forward to that session because I think it's a critical skill to have, to know how to influence people, obviously for the good, and to get certain results. So I think that's exciting. Paul, anything from your side?
Yeah, it's so strange. Over the years, I've been told many times how good I would be in sales. Oh, you'd make a great salesman. You can sell ice to Eskimos, get into being a property agent, and yet just hearing what Shaun's saying now about influencing people, to some extent, I feel uncomfortable with that, because I recognize one might have the ability to direct people and steer people and persuade people. But sometimes part of me almost feels guilty in not being a leader. I think being a leader is a great attribute to have, but I've never been the person to force anybody to do anything or to push anything down anybody's throat. So I'm looking forward to next week because, yeah, for me, there is a little bit of discomfort. And on the outside, it might appear as if I'm somebody who would love to go into sales. But I'm more of a person, if you'd like it, sure, I'll help you get it. But I'm not going to be the one to force you to get it.
Yes.
Am I making any sense there?
Yes, absolutely. And there is a difference between force and manipulation and influencing. So it's a very, very big difference. And the one is forced to try and force someone else to be and to think the way that I am. And another person is that really that more of a motivation and empowering that listen to or to uplift a person, let's say with whatever the way that someone treats you. And there's an opportunity in things that go wrong and arguments and fights. There's an opportunity in that is a good attribute to leaders, and that's not manipulation or force, but it is completely something different, and we will get into that next week.
I agree with you, Shaun. Influencing for good.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Shaun. Today was again insightful. I'm going to, with every person that I meet and engage with, I'm going to try and discern in what quadrant they fall in, just for myself to get used to it, because obviously practice makes perfect, and the more you do it, the more you'll notice it. And then I look forward to next week.
Yes. So those subtle things, the way people talk, if they talk faster or high energy, most likely extrovert. If they talk a little bit slower, more controlled, not so much internality, most likely introvert. How they talk, task-oriented, is your D and your C, and people-oriented. So just little tips to see if you can notice it. So notice the way that they look, notice their energy, notice the speed that they talk at, and really see if you can notice those attributes in people.
Well, we have our homework, ladies, for the next week. So thank you very much for that, Shaun. And as always, if you do have any questions, please pop them in the comments and we can build that into a future session. Ultimately, we're not here just for ourselves, although we are getting a lot out of this and thoroughly enjoying it. I think one of the advantages of what we're doing in season 2 of the Coaching Hour is to actually have these practical sessions where you can get something out of it as well. So hopefully you can try this at home. You can join us as we do our homework and see if you can spot the different personality traits and different characteristics of people around you. Maybe start with your family. That would be interesting. See if you can identify where they fit in on the it's called the DISC, isn't it? The DISC, the DISC. What is it? A quadrant, or what do they refer to it as, Shaun?
Just a profile, a DISC profile.
Okay, DISC profile. Wonderful. So yeah, if you have any comments, please pop them in the comments section as we look forward to bringing you another edition. Shaun, so you will be with us next week and possibly for a few more weeks thereafter, I would imagine. How long do we have Shaun for, Marika?
So next week will be our final session. So if people want to then enroll for the full program, there's also a link to his personal mastery course also in the description. To work directly also, with Shaun and learn more about themselves.
Fantastic. So that's where we leave you. If you have been listening to this as a podcast, do remember that you can get to see what we look like, and you can watch this on Facebook. And what's the other platform where we have the visuals? On YouTube, of course, the Coaching Hour on YouTube. Wonderful. Thank you very much for your time, ladies. Shaun, thank you. We'll look forward to the final episode with you next week here on the Coaching Hour. Thanks for joining us.
And a pleasure.